Friday. We want to welcome anybody that is risky enough to take a few moments with us to just have a little fellowship. I want to welcome you to the Ex Pastors Talk. I am just so blessed to have few of my brothers, brother Derrick Day, um, brother Kyle Butler, and Bishop Jamel Broadnax.
What's
We
up?
we just really want to come together tonight and just talk a little bit. All of us have come out of what we would call a religious tradition, and I would like to say we are free and we are enjoying life,
Yes.
and we really just want to talk. Um, we are hoping that somebody may tune in that will hear something that just may encourage you to, walk in your own freedom.
Yes,
Because really, life is good. Life is really amazing.
yes,
But I believe all four of us can let you know that we didn't know how amazing life was because of the traditions we were under, because of the way we used to think and the way we used to believe. So this is just such a blessing to me because also, if you're anything like us, there's a good chance some of the people that you used to roll with, have in your life, when you start to make that transformation from the old person that was under tradition to the new person, sometimes you might feel lonely. You might feel like, nobody's on your side. This is a broadcast where we really just want to let you know that you are unconditionally loved. And we just want you to know that um, life really is good. And if you have the boldness, the courage to step out and to move forward and to leave some of the things that you used to believe behind, you will experience a life that you will never imagine. So, fellas, take it from here. Much love to everybody.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm glad to be here. uh, it's rare that we all get a chance to sit down with each other and talk like this, right? And for all of y'all that are listening, all of y'all that are watching, give somebody or give somebody in this group some money in their cash app.
bring it
so
on, baby.
so that we can all take this money and get together. But we ain't gonna just take it and just spoil it, right? But that we can all get together somewhere in person and share our experiences, because I'm gonna tell you something. We're about to get really live. We're about to get really raw. We're gonna talk about some shit tonight. And the thing is that although this is gonna be good, it would be even better if all four of us was in the same room. So that's what I want to say. So
Right.
anybody else that want to jump in and say something, go right ahead.
Well, look, let me just say this real quick, and then I'm going to let y'all talk. But Kyle and I were talking when we talked Monday night about our experience in Laurinburg, North Carolina, where we all came together. And, I know it's easy to accept, the online, because many of us don't want to go back into some of the stuff that we used to be a part of. But I still say there's nothing like fellowship one-on-one, that personal coming together. So we were talking about, Kyle and I were talking about when we all came together, man, and we met at Pastor Mike Porter's church.
Yep.
We were talking about, man, how we had the wine out and the beer, and we just came in and we just loved on one another. I mean, unconditional love, no judgment, just having fun. And so I believe what you're saying, Brother Derrick, we need to, at least be intentional about doing more things like that, because, it's a good thing to come together with people with like minds and just people that understand, hey, life is meant to be good.
Yep.
So, man, I'm grateful for y'all, man, and let's do it if we can.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm ready for it.
Me too.
So I want to kick this off by saying this is an interesting and eclectic bunch, and that all of us have a common denominator. That all of us were senior pastors in some Christian institution at one time, and all of us.
I actually was a highly exalted bishop of the Fifth Order, so a little higher than you guys, than the senior pastor.
Oh, you were low because see, I know Jamel and I were both we gone through the consecration and the succession and all of that good stuff. Well, I didn't have an apostolic succession, but I was consecrated.
Well, I've been with
had
God,
apostolic bull. I mean, Lynn's gonna get me if I continue forward, so I'm gonna stop right there. Yeah. Oh goodness. Yeah, man. But you're right. This is pretty awesome, pretty wowing, because I never would have thought in a million years that I would be sitting in front of this camera with a bunch of fellow heretics talking this blasphemous talk that we are talking right now.
No, but hang on for a second. I want to throw something out here because see, we ain't just like shadow pastors. We ain't just people that were faking the funk. We were all in.
That's right.
Because listen, I knew all four of us when we were in. I knew everybody when we were all in, right? And so I'm thinking that like I think about this like in terms of a rocket ship, right? That the whole purpose of a rocket ship is to overcome the gravity of Earth to get into space, right? So we were in the orbit of Christianity. We were locked into that orbit, but somehow, some way, each one of us has been able to attain escape velocity and get past that. So I want to talk about that. How did you get escape velocity? Anybody can jump in.
I just said real quick. Go ahead.
I just want to say this, and I keep saying because I'm the moderator, so I'm gonna sit back, right? But I do want to say this because one of the things that I wanted to talk about with other people and kind of share, you have to have courage. You have to have an absolute boldness to step away, because I think a lot of people get stuck where we understand now we used to be stuck. You have to have a courage to step away from what has become traditional, right? So my thing is, sometimes you got to have what I call now necessary conflict, right? I still do a little message on Sundays and just trying to throw some stuff out to get people think, as Kyle says. But I think one of the issues that I had for a long time that I had to overcome to get where I am now, the freedom. If you get stuck in trying to conform to what mama and daddy say, grandma said, all my friends are doing, all my friends think this way, then you will be stuck somewhere. And for me, where I was at, I was miserable, even preaching, right? So my thing is, you have to be okay with having what I call necessary conflict, which means there will be people that say things to you that say, well, you can't do this, you can't do that. But if you believe that, right, and you know that there's something within you saying you need to go forward, you need to leave, you need to do whatever, you're going to stay stuck. So one of the things that I'm excited about is I believe that, conversations like this give people the boldness to say, you know what I've been dealing with it's not working for me. I'm not happy. But you got to understand, necessary conflict is going to come for everybody. Can y'all say that y'all experience necessary conflict, which means people are telling me y'all done lost your mind, you're crazy, you don't need to be doing that.
Absolutely.
Am I the only one that experienced that, or did y'all experience it as well?
Oh, you're definitely not the only one. Yeah, I experienced that early on, probably about 3 or 4 years ago. I experienced it quite heavily, and then I started cussing a lot and started cussing people out a lot, and for the most part, people started leaving me alone.
Right.
For the most part. But yes, I definitely experienced that, and I like how you put that. I think you said necessary conflict.
Necessary conflict.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I think it was necessary. It taught me a lot about myself, and honestly, and I'm joke. Well, I'm not really joking when I talk about how I began to curse a lot and cussing people out. But because that necessary conflict showed me some things about myself, it taught me how to stand up for myself.
Right.
Because as a Christian at the time, as a fundamentalist Christian, I felt like the way was to be humble, meek and lowly.
Yeah.
If you want to be exalted, excuse me, you got to humble yourself so that you can be exalted. Because if you exalt yourself, you're going to be abased. So yeah, it taught me that, but also, Lynn, it taught, and guys, I don't know about you, but it also kind of reinforced my decision to walk away. Because when I was in, you know how they say, how does that saying go? I can't remember exactly how it goes, but from the inside, it's hard to see things clearly. And somebody can think of the saying I'm trying to remember. I can't get it together, but from the outside, you can see things more clearer.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went through that necessary
Right.
conflict, as you call it, I didn't realize the amount of hate and gosh, let's just leave it at that. The amount of hate and darkness that was within that organized institution. I didn't see it clearly until I left, and it kind of reinforced my reason for leaving and helped me to never look back because I don't want to be a part of that.
Yeah. I think for me, the one thing that was suppressed throughout my childhood, growing up in a very strict Christian home and in my teenage years, and then when I decided to get involved in Christianity or get serious with God, that old phrase. The one thing that was suppressed for me was my thinking, because I had always been a very logical thinking kid. I can see life and I understood life. I understood adult things. I understood it so much, and I would do a lot of thinking. But in that arena, it was it was highly suppressed. And for me, the thing that really kind of helped me break free is that I just started thinking. I just opened up that portal, and when I started thinking, one thought led to another, 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 and it's still going on today. And every time I hit another level of thought, everything prior to it no longer made sense, and I just kept going. And I know I didn't get a lot of kickback. I got kickback when I took my thought to the Jesus story. That's when I started getting the most kickback.
Mm-hmm.
But see, to me, I couldn't stop at Jesus where everybody would have been comfortable. They would have been comfortable if I stopped at Jesus. But once my mind got free, it just kept thinking.
Yeah.
And it kept going, going. And the Jesus story stopped making sense. And all aspects of it, the version of God that we were taught stopped making sense. And so
Yeah.
to me, that was my thing. I just started thinking, and then I refused to quit.
Mhm.
Now, I went through this one thing where, and this was after, I want to say a little over 2 years ago, I became an atheist, right? And what I understand about this group, that's not everybody's testimony, and that's cool, right? But when I got to this point, I started deconstructing the atheism because I'd already deconstructed Christianity. And I'm going to tell to everybody that's listening, if you're deconstructing and you haven't actually at least flirted with the idea of atheism, if this hasn't crossed your mind, you haven't fully deconstructed, not by any stretch of the imagination. But
Mm-hmm.
What I began to look at was the historicity of the Jesus narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, because this is something that's commonly accepted that there is a Jesus, even if he wasn't divine, that there was a Jesus. But if you were to stop and consider, and there's a growing body of scholarship and belief or theorizing that says that there is no historical Jesus. Now,
Mm-hmm.
consider this for a minute, because if that is the case, if there is no Jesus to base it on, whether divine or natural, then the wheels come completely off the whole Christian narrative. And this whole thing, I don't know if y'all ever seen like a car that was rolling, because see, all of y'all from the hood, we all from the hood. So we know what this looks like. Like, when old boy was rolling around with those, remember those wheels that used to stick way out from underneath the fenders that look like Hot Wheels cars,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And they ain't put the right spindles on there to hold them wheels on, and they hit a pothole and the wheels fall off. And then all of a sudden, bam, this car's down on his belly, right? This is what would happen to Christianity if the Jesus narrative is broken. And so that's where I am now. It's like I'm what you would call an atheist mythicist. In other words,
Mm.
I'm an atheist. I don't believe that there is any God, that there is any supreme being, that there is any source to speak of, right?
Yeah.
But I also believe that the Jesus person on which the Christian identity is built upon never existed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I want to throw that out there just to get people really.
Let me just say this. I'm grateful. I'm gonna throw it out, and that's why we come together. And I love coming together. I'm supposed to be the moderator, so I keep saying I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be out. But
You ain't gonna be out. You ain't gonna be out.
we can love one another
Yeah.
and agree to disagree. Now, I do believe that there is a God, there is a source. I do believe that.
Yep.
I believe that God is love. But what I believe is ultimately we have damaged the understanding of what God is. I believe as it was stated, God is spirit. God is not a person somewhere far away that we're hoping to get to. God is a spirit. It's a power, right? That we're able to tap in. Now, I just want to say this to my brother. I don't know who this is, the God talk that is, saying, making the comments, but he said something about emotional. Now, I believe that everything this is my belief, right? Everything is spirit. Spirit and energy is one thing, right?
Yep.
I believe that we create our lives now through our emotions and our thoughts. Mental and emotional is how we create our thoughts, our reality. Now, one of the things that I want to say about, I think there was a comment about leaving towards emptiness. I'm happier now than I have ever been in my life.
Absolutely.
I understand love now more than I've ever understood love, because it's unconditional. It's not a love that plays, because if my brother, the God taught, will be honest, right? Christianity, what we used to believe in, put conditions on love, right? But when you come from out of that and you understand that if you say that God is love, or whoever you believe, whatever you believe about God, I do believe there is a love, there is a power, there is a source, and it's totally up to you. But if you look at it as what we used to believe, what I used to believe was a bunch of conditions that prevented me from loving other people, but most importantly, loving myself, that kept me from living the life that hopefully all of us can live. So, I just want to say that. I'm going to try not to look at the comments, because I understand everybody's in different places, right? But it's all good. It really is. It's all good. But I just want to say, honestly, in my life, I feel love more than I've ever felt love in my life has changed because I do believe this is me. I believe that everything, spirit and energy is one. Your thoughts, your emotions create your reality. I do believe that, right? I was off in the past about how I was thinking and how I was feeling, and it was a cause for that. So now that I'm free, everything is changing because my thoughts have changed and my feelings have changed.
I'll say this, if I may, and I think this takes a level of honesty. You got to break away from ego and pride to go along with this statement.
You must be seeing what I'm seeing. I'm
Here we have
sorry.
And
Henry is messing around in the comments, Kyle.
of
So
course,
we're trying to take you seriously, and Henry is over there.
gotcha. Um, let's start here. No God, whatever it is, if there's something out there called a God, no God has ever proven itself beyond question, beyond all uncertainty to humanity. So that tells me that if there is something out there, it doesn't care what we think about it. It's totally of non-care because it has never done anything to prove itself to humanity beyond question. And somebody might say, well, there's creation, there's you, there's this. That's not beyond question because there's many different avenues people can go to say, well, no, it's this, is that, is the other. There's never been anything from a God. And if a God is a God as we think, as we've labeled gods, then it has this power, it has this ability, it has this knowledge. And a God would have the knowledge of how to let every single individual know in their own particular way that this is who I am. A God would know how to do that if it cared to do that. So that tells me, since we don't have anything like that, that whatever that is, if there is something, it doesn't care if we know what it is or not in this realm. That's what I think. So that leads me to this. We're all just guessing.
Absolutely.
We take data, information, and our experience, and we make a reasonable conclusion. Now, and because I believe this, so this is what I believe. I'll probably stay here, and because I believe it this way, I don't get frustrated with people who don't believe what I believe, because I know I'm just guessing. My pride and my ego is out the ball game on this. I'm just guessing because I don't know. You don't know. No one knows. No one can point to any proof beyond measure, beyond doubt, beyond all uncertainty. No one can point to anything and say this is what it is. We don't have that. So at that point, that makes it all a guess. And what organized religions, man-made organized religions, and every religion, in my opinion, is all man-made. What organized man-made religions have done is they've created an image and an ideal of a God, and they sold it to a people, and whoever bit on that version said, yes, it's Allah. Yes, it's Jehovah. Yes, it's this. Yes, it's that. That's all that's happened. But if there is something out there that's not named Allah, that's not named Jehovah, that's not named love, that's not named energy or light or whatever it is, it says, you guys think whatever the hell you want to think. I don't give a fuck. I'm good.
So let me
down here trying to figure it out.
Let me throw this in here, right? Because you brought up something nobody really knows, right? And so really at the very best anybody has is a good theory, right? Now, at the very least, somebody has a hypothesis. And I want to bring this up because, see, people don't really understand. They'll talk about, well, evolution is just a theory, right? Let me tell y'all something. For all y'all that's watching, there's no such thing as an empirical fact. You don't have the title deed to anything vaguely resembling an empirical fact. None of you do. not science, not religion, not nothing. At the very best, anybody has is a theory. Now, here's the way it works. We start with a hypothesis. A
Mm-hmm.
hypothesis is an assumption. It is a guess. I think
Right.
that this is. So now I'm going to take this hypothesis and I'm going to test it. I'm going to put pressure on this hypothesis to say whether or not this holds water or not. I'm going to smoke test it. I'm going to pressure test it. I'm going to see whether or not this actually holds up. Now, once I've determined that it holds up, that's not good enough because that just simply says that I've observed something and that's it. So now I have to take it and I have to give it to Lynn. I have to give it to Kyle. I have to give it to Jamel. I have to give it to people and say, okay, I need somebody to peer review what I've hypothesized and tested. Now it'll come back and Lynn will say, yep, that's good. Jamel will say, yep, that's good. And Kyle will say, whoa, Derrick, that's bullshit. Right?
Always me.
So I'm just picking on Kyle.
I know. Always me.
but it's like it comes back and somebody challenges that, right? So now the challenge has to be addressed in addition to the evidence that I've already presented, right? And only then, when I have faced down Kyle's challenge, does this become worthy of being called theory.
Yeah.
Right? And what all of y'all, you need to understand this, that theory has the same etymological root as theology.
Yeah.
Right? So a theory becomes a form of a God.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Right? So what happens is to Kyle's point is that none of us really know. No, there is not a human being walking the earth right now that can say empirically this is or this isn't.
Right.
Exactly.
Right? All we, at the very best, any of us has is a theory. Right? And that's something that we make a God at the moment. But here's the thing: this is the beautiful thing about the scientific method is that a theory only becomes a God for a specific time period until that theory is displaced by superior information.
Exactly. Exactly.
And so the thing is that I can go back and I can say I have a hypothesis that says that Jesus never existed. I have a hypothesis that says that the God of the Bible does not exist. Now, this is not to diminish what Lynn is saying, because what Lynn is saying is that there could be a source, that this source could be love. And I'm all about that, because like my co-host Aaron Tomlinson will say that there is a universal consciousness. Right. And I'm on board with that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Lynn's theory. Right. But what I'm not okay with is that there is this God that is going to judge us based on our behavior, based on whether or not what we do, what our actions are. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
And my hypothesis, I have set forth my hypothesis. It has been subject to peer review. It has been scrutinized, and I can say that my hypothesis is now theory.
Okay.
Exactly.
And I want to take that a step further. I'm sorry about that.
No, I just want to throw this out, because one of the things that I believe that we were forced into because of our traditional beliefs was the fact that there was creation and there was evolution. Now, most of us probably grew up in a tradition that says you got to discount evolution and just only believe creation, believe everything that's in the Bible, right? But Why is that? Why? Why? For me, this is where I'm at.
Mhm.
Why couldn't there be a combination of both in your understanding of creation and evolution? Why do you got to discount it? Right? Because we were told, and we just totally said, well, you got to discount, right, the story of because we came from a creation theology or whatever. Discount evolution, but science is proven, and that's the thing that I think we get caught up in is discounting stuff that really and for me, when Kyle and I talked the other night, Monday night, which was such a blessing to me, hanging out with my boy and hanging out with y'all.
I never got my honorarium, by the way. Is it still is it in the mail or what?
Yeah, you ain't get
Okay,
it.
not yet.
I sent it.
I'm having my secretary call your secretary.
Lynn, we got to make sure them checks go out tonight.
Yeah, I got you.
I'll text you my address. Kyle's got it.
Yeah, I got it.
Get from him.
But you know what? And my thing is right now, I don't even get caught up in, you know, I really believe that we could live a healthier, happier life if we don't get caught up in what happens in the past or what's going to happen in the future. Just live your life right now. To me,
Absolutely.
that's what I tell people. I don't get caught up in that, right? Because as you say, I'm in total agreement. We don't really know. We can guess what's going to happen when we leave here, but ultimately, I believe, what are you doing right now? Is what you believe making you happy right now? That's
it.
the question, right?
That's it.
Is what you believe bringing you
Is
peace?
it working for you?
Huh?
Is it working for you?
That's my words right there, bro.
Yeah. Is it working for you? Now, a couple of things that you said, well, a couple of things that have been said by everyone, but Lynn, you ended up talking about evolution and creation working together. And Chris kind of pointed this out before I got to it. You know, there are several Christian scholars who do actually adopt and merge those two together. Matter of fact, I was reading the other day, I think it was even Charles, what was that man's name? Charles Spurgeon.
Mm-hmm.
He had a quote that I read just, I think, yesterday. He was talking about he saw no reason why Christianity and evolution could not coexist.
Yeah.
So it there is a merging of that among some people. What who was it? What Derrick was saying. I want to take that a step further. You were talking about how did you? I don't remember how you had it, but I'm gonna take a step further. I wrote some little notes somewhere. Get it? Because I forget everything. But I forget everything. But
You ain't allowed to forget, man. You ain't hit 50 yet.
Man, I'm on my way.
The
I'm looking
expectation
right
is
at
that
it.
you're going to remember every goddamn thing.
Say that again.
I said the expectation is that you're going to remember every goddamn thing because you ain't 50 yet.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, failed that one. But listen, man, you know, you were talking about the source, you know, believing that there could be a source and all that. And I kind of I can go with that. But one thing that I will say, you talked about flirting with atheism. I definitely flirted with that. Didn't quite lead me there, but at the end of the day, I don't know where I'm going to end up because I'm constantly evolving, constantly,
Yeah.
and I mean constantly. And let me say this about there being a God. I would even dare say this is my perspective, and again, this is not to go against anything that anyone else has said, but I cannot even accept, and it's just nonsensical to even think that there is a loving God that exists. And I know, and again, Lynn,
Bingo.
this is not to, you know, bash you saying God is love,
Oh,
but
good.
yeah, in any way to attack that theory either. But I don't see, you know, in my awareness, I do not see any
Right.
loving God that exists
Right.
because this, if there is a God that is an actual deity, let's say it that way. If there's this actual deity that's supposedly watching over this world,
Right.
He don't give a damn about anything that's happening here.
Preach,
Right.
man.
It refuses to interact. The thing that gets
Right.
me, so we can say, oh well, but no, God did this, and what about this? No, let's go to some more serious things.
Right.
If God is omniscient,
Right.
all-knowing,
Mhm.
omnipresent,
Mhm.
and what's the other one? Omniscient, omnipresent,
Omnipotent.
omnipotent. Yeah,
Omnipotent. Yeah.
omnipotent.
Omniscient,
Yeah,
All
omnipresent.
power.
all powerful. Okay, and what is it? David says, "The eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good." But he's not doing anything about the evil. We're saying that he can see it. I cannot reason a little girl or any woman, and I'm going to use that purposely. I cannot visualize a woman being raped by a man while calling on Jesus for help. God, help me, Lord, help me. And then God just sits there and watch. Oh, I can see. I'll never leave you nor forsake you. I'm right there.
No, the
Right.
only conclusion you can come to there is that God is into rape porn.
Exactly. Voyeurism.
What,
Yep.
what, what, let me
You
just
know
say this. I'm
that, and
sorry.
it's
I'm
and
the
it's that.
moderator.
Well,
Go ahead, go ahead,
before
go
you
ahead.
cut in, let me just kind of conclude with this point and let the moderator come in. And when I say this, I'm speaking of that particular version or that particular concept of a
Right.
God.
Right.
Okay, that particular concept. Go ahead, moderator. Because
The moderator has
I felt
spoken.
the moderator. I felt
What,
his
what, what,
energy.
what this is just my, if there is no love that inspires love, why should I love you all? Why should we? Because all of us talk about how we should love everybody and how love should, you know, be the core of our being. So my
Great
thing
question.
is, if there is no inspiration of love, now I think for me,
I think there is, by the way.
I'm gonna just speak personally about me. This is me, right? The God that I had formed in my mind was nothing close to the truth, right? So now that I'm deconstructing,
Yeah.
I'm starting to understand that I had a problem understanding love. And when I said God is love, I had a problem understanding God, the source of love. So for me, the reason that, and I'm gonna tell you, some days it gets very difficult. Hear me now, right? When I wake up, I say one of the things that I say daily, I want to love everybody unconditionally. The reason that I want to do that is because I believe that there's a source that will help me to do that. Now, if there is no source of unconditional love, then I should say, forget it. Ain't no need for me to love anybody else, right? Because this is a dog eat dog world, and I can just do what I want to do and not care. But for me, this is me personally, right? I believe that there is a source of love. Matter of fact, I believe, according to the scriptures, right, the God talk, right? We're speaking to the God talk. There is a scripture that says that we are one with this God. We are one with this source, right? So if we're one with this source, then it's up to us to display the love that we believe that we are one with. This is just me, right? So that's just where I'm at. But I understand everybody is in different places, man, and that's why I love these conversations.
So
And
let me throw this out here, right? Because people will say, okay, if there is no God, what is to stop us from going around killing and raping people?
right,
In other words, that morality emanates from this source, right? But here's the thing: if this source is the source of morality, then this source should step in its power to stop immorality, and it doesn't, right? that is an empirical fact, right?
Right.
It doesn't step in to stop immorality. So what I've learned is, and this was a hard lesson for me to learn, Lynn, because I used to be with where you were. I used to the whole unconditional love thing.
Yeah.
I used to be there. I was
Me too.
determined that I was going to love people
Agree.
in spite of themselves. But what I've learned is that my love is actually very conditional. Because if you come at me sideways with some racist bullshit or some religious bullshit, I can see that I don't have an obligation to love you. Now, I can see your point. I can even concede a point to you.
Absolutely.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
it's like I've just come to the point where I love where I'm going to have love reciprocated.
Yeah.
Right.
Me too.
And that if
Yeah,
love is
definitely.
not reciprocated, then I'm under no obligation to extend it. It's just like credit. It's like I tell everybody in my life that when you come into my life brand new, no preconceived notions. Basically, you come into my life with 600 credit, right? 600. That's not a bad score. That's like that's just above poor, but it's not, it's a little bit below average. But this is where you come into my life, right? Now, based on what you do with that credit, your credit score can go up. Now, I have a unique purview over a lot of you brothers. And I'm going to say this. This is a flex, by the way.
Go ahead and flex, brother.
Flex alert, right? That I will be 61 years old this year. I have two friends that I've been friends with for 59 of those 61 years. I have 16 friends that I've been friends with more than 50 years. This is what I'm saying is that, and we were on a conference call, me and some of my close friends from the hood, right? They came up from Homer Street in Detroit, and we were talking, and we were saying that the reason, because we're asking what made our relationship so successful? Why is it that our friendship has been able to sustain more than a half a century? And it was this, right? That we were able to overlook the things that we didn't like about each other.
Absolutely.
So in other words, Lynn, to your point, that this love is not unconditional. This love is very conditional. We've put some conditions on that said, okay, these are the things that we're willing to overlook, but these are the things we understand that there are certain things that we can't overlook, but none of us has traversed those boundaries, so we're good, right? So my thing is that I'm no longer placing myself under any obligation to love anybody unconditionally. I'm going to tell you that there is a point that you can get to in my life where I will not love you no more.
Absolutely.
Because I can go from zero to fuck you in a hurry. It's like look here, a Tesla plan can go 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds. I can go 0 to fuck you faster than that.
Hey, look,
You
bro.
know, let me, if I can jump in real quick too.
Go ahead, man.
And I have two things. Number one, every time I ask someone this question who hits me with the God is love, so how do you know? Well, the Bible says it. Well, the Bible also says God is jealousy, God is hate, God is genocidal, God is misogynistic, God is racist, God is a lot of things, a lot of bad things. The Bible also says that. And they say, well, no, we can't listen to none of them because they were just, that was their interpretation. And I said, well, how do we know that was just John's interpretation? How do we land on John and then totally bypass everybody else? And so the question remains, how do we know God is love? Now, in a natural sense, I know Derrick loves me. Derrick's been here as a friend from day one. I know Lin loves me. Maybe Jamel knows I love him because I just sent him a hat. I don't know.
I know you love me, brother.
you know, and he said, "How much I owe you?" I said, "It's a gift." So
Thank you, sir.
my point is, the relationships we built one another, we can know that there's love in these relationships. We can point to things. As far as I can see, all we can point to is God is love is what's in this book, this one little verse. And if we take it a step further, we can say this. I can say this. Before God mentions anything about it loving us, we are commanded to love it. And you go back and do your Bible research, you'll find that any mention of God's love comes way after.
Absolutely.
Any mention of, or before it's mentioned, us loving God. So we're commanded to love God way before that God makes any indication about loving us. And that should say something to us. Number two, to Derrick's point, I used to think I have to unconditionally love everyone. And I asked myself the question, why did I think that? And I understand it was from that realm I came from.
Yeah.
And then I was at Home Depot one day and I saw some, in my area, I have a lot of day workers. So they'll come to Home Depot hoping to get picked up for a day job. And I realized I don't unconditionally love them. I don't know them. I don't unconditionally love them. But I won't do them any harm, meaning I won't back my truck up over one of them. I won't do any harm to one of them. I unconditionally love my mother. I unconditionally love my sisters. I unconditionally love my friends that I've chosen to unconditionally love. But I don't unconditionally love people I don't know. And I'm not going to put myself to that pressure of unconditionally loving people I don't know. So I'm not in the unconditional love to all camp either. I'm in the I unconditionally love people I know and love me. And I won't do harm to people I don't know and don't know me. That's where I am.
Let me say something real quick, because this is something Lynn will identify with, because this, he and I both have spent extensive time in the Tidewater, Virginia area, right? And so it's this club called the Ponderosa, right?
On me.
And is a straight after hours joint, right? Now let me tell y'all how I used to roll in the Pondee. I used to, y'all remember those old Capezio white Jazz Oxford shoes? Y'all old enough
Before
to
my
remember
time. Before my time.
Now, Jamel, come on, man. You old enough to remember Capezios. Now, you might have been in sixth grade, but you know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
All right. So here's the deal. I used to wear my white Capezios into the Pondee. Now, Lynn, what would happen if I wore my white shoes into the Pondee? Come on now. And let's keep it real. We'll keep it real in 100. Tell me what would happen when I wore my shoes into that spot.
You be talked about, kicked out, whatever. I mean,
or somebody step on them shoes.
Yeah, and then that's gonna cause a fight.
That's where I'm going, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing, right? There are things that I say and I do, and I know that when I say and do these things, that somebody is going to be butthurt about this.
Absolutely.
Now, here's the thing. I can either say, okay, I'm going to be love and light, and I'm going to love them through this. Or I can say, bring it on, motherfucker.
Right.
Here we go. Buckle up, bitch. It's on, right? And that's the way I can be. So what I'm saying is that this whole thing about unconditional love, I just am not there anymore. And watch this, right? People say, well, unconditional love because Jesus is unconditional love, right? And I don't see that. Matter of fact,
No.
Aaron is on now. Aaron taught this really good lesson a couple of years ago about how Jesus is not unconditional love. His love was very conditional. And so what I'm getting at is that we talk about, okay, unconditional love, unconditional love. No, you know what? Listen, I love the people that I've been friends with 50 something years because we've been friends for 50 something years. I love Kyle and Lynn because we've been friends now for I think it's like close to 6 years that we've been friends, right? And so we've gone through a lot of different evolutions together. Aaron and I have been doing this phreology thing for 3 years, right? And then Jamel, you and I, we have a common denominator in our brother Rodney Chandler, right? That we,
Yes. Oh, yes, yes.
so we kind of come from we're only a couple of branches of separation in terms of our consecration,
Yes.
right? So all of this, we have common denominators, and so I love all of you guys because of the common denominators, right? But it's not, and some of you I've developed relationships. I mean, well, not some of you, all of you, each one of you guys, I've developed relationships with you that say that in spite of. We have a lot of in spite of that we're able to come together in spite of, right? But that I don't extend that to everybody because again, like I said, some people start off with 600 credit with me. I mean, everybody starts off with 600 credit, but some people take that 600 and they work that down to 400 with the quickness, right? And then there are some people I know that are in my life. Like I'm going to pick on Kyle. Let me pick on Kyle and Aaron specifically because these two motherfuckers, these two guys have absolutely what is the perfect credit score? 50?
850.
Right? They got 850 credit with me. Now, Jamel, Lynn, I love y'all, but y'all like my 825. But it's still really it's really
I'm working on it.
It's super high. It's super high. You can still get anything you need from me. But what I'm saying is that like Kyle and Aaron, I have a very special relationship with.
Right.
But all of you guys are all over 800 with me, which means that any one of y'all can put pressure on your covenant with me to get whatever you need from me.
Let me just add in real quick.
And let me say this as the moderator, Kyle.
Go ahead.
I gotta get my one cuss word in. I'm gonna just say this, and then I'm done.
Is it motherfucker?
No,
Full of
I
shit.
love all y'all asses, right? I'm gonna just say that. I love all y'all asses. Because we were told you gotta say one cuss word and drink, right? I've been doing good with the drinking, but I'm gonna just get this in, and then I'm gonna sit back. I love all y'all asses. Hey, man, much love to you, man. Good to see you.
Thanks, man. Great to be here.
Sure.
I'm sorry I'm late.
I'm just going to say this real quick, and then I know Aaron wants to talk. Now, when I said I don't unconditionally love everyone, I mean that in the sense of I have an unconditional love for family, people close to me, people that I want to unconditionally love. That you have that unconditional love with me. Everyone else, I've chosen to be kind to, kind to show people kindness and fairness and empathy and dignity and honor. I've chosen to do that, but that doesn't mean I have to unconditionally love these people because I think that's too big of a burden to put on anybody to say we have to unconditionally love everybody. I think that's too big of a burden. And to Derrick's real quick to Derrick's point about Jesus not being unconditional love, and I didn't hear Aaron's message on this, but I just keep telling people, well, you got a Jesus coming that's going to destroy 3/4 of the population. So there's no unconditional love there. So stop, cut it out. You can't get that there. And if you tell me again, Jesus is the perfect representation of God. Well, again, how do we address Revelation? He's not coming back to die this time. He's coming back to do the killing.
Absolutely. And and really it was from the beginning, even God, okay, Yahweh, from the beginning. There was no unconditional love from the garden. Okay, I'm going to put this poisonous tree in the middle of the garden, and if you eat it, I'm going to kill you. Well, he did say I'm going to kill your ass.
You will surely die.
Yeah.
What you drinking
You don't
over
do
there?
what? Huh?
I just got some wine, man. That's all I got.
That's what I got, brother. Yeah.
Go ahead, Bishop.
Oh no, that's it. From the beginning, I don't think it's unconditional love is not even present in the scriptures. The whole basis of the fundamentalist Christian faith, anyway. And I know, Lynn, you're not a fundamentalist, um, but the whole basis of the fundamentalist Christian faith is not unconditional love, but it's that you love God, okay? But if you don't love God, then God gets to show you hate by punishing you for eternity. That is not unconditional love. And then he says unconditional love would be everybody goes to heaven. Everybody, I overlook it. Whatever you've done, I overlook that. It's okay. I still love you. All of you
Universalism.
come and hang out at my house for eternity. That's unconditional love.
Inclusionism.
You're crazy,
Yeah,
man.
so I'm at a place right now that I believe this is my belief. I look at everything now as spirit and energy.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I believe that how our life goes is according to how we love ourselves and how we love others. Right now, you can take God out of the picture or whatever,
Yeah.
but that is how I live my life. Now, for me,
Yeah.
the more I can love people, even the people that are unlovable, the better my life is going to be. That's how I believe. The better I can feel, right? Even on days when I have an excuse to not feel good, the better I can love somebody that I really shouldn't love. Now, let me say this. I'm at a place where I've come to, there are certain people that won't vibe with me, and I won't vibe with them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what y'all were saying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cool with that, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I don't have to vibe. I had to come to this place where I said, you know what? I don't have to vibe with everybody. Now, that is not the same as unconditional love. Now, that is not me saying, I'm going to force you to love me. No. I'm going to do what I can to be the best version of myself. And whatever happens after that, now, that's part of what I want to share. I do my little message on Sunday. Look, there's certain people that if you're not vibing with them, you're going to have to separate yourself from them to be the best version of yourself. Because
let me say this. I'm at the point now where I'm okay with saying, I don't care if some of y'all motherfuckers check out.
Right. You got to be there for it.
If
Derrick,
you die, you die. I don't
that's
care.
the thing, brother. See, that works for you. And that's the key element right there.
Yeah.
Derrick, what you said, it works for you.
Yep.
And Lynn, what you said, it works for
him.
you.
And so
We've got to be there where it's okay. Whatever works for you. I'm almost with Derrick. I'm almost not quite where Derrick is. But fuck you. Period. I mean, I don't care. I'm focused on my life. My life is so great. I'm enjoying it so much. Fuck you. I don't care what you think about me. I don't care what you think about what I say, what my message, what I do. Fuck you. Spiritual community. Fuck you too. I don't care. Fuck them all.
Because to me,
I got a fuck you reserved for everybody. Trust me.
Anything, the most important person, hear me now, this is me. I had to learn to love was me. Right? Anything outside of that, right? Now I got a wife, I got children, I understand. But to me, I can't love my wife and my children if I haven't learned to love myself. So anybody that's trying to bring that down, no, I don't even want you in my life.
No, you put the oxygen mask on your own face before assisting others, and that's the way you're supposed to do.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I think at our most our highest level of honesty, where we're being most integral, we all should be able to say, every human being alive should be able to say, everyone has that fuck you personality in a sense.
Yeah.
Where we can say, fuck you, I don't give a fuck about you, I don't care about you, and I don't want you anywhere near me. I think if we're honest, we can all say we have that because that's in us. And I think that's perfectly okay. Now, my fuck you, I don't care about you, I don't want you in my life, doesn't mean I'm going to shoot you in the face.
Right.
Exactly.
That just means I don't want to deal with you. I don't like the way you think. I don't like the way you act. I don't like your politics. I don't like your personality. You're like an empathy. You're like a compassion. Fuck you. I don't like the way you treat me. Fuck you. I think that's perfectly okay for every human being. But now I won't take my fuck you and shoot you in the face. I won't do that. Because that's where that's where that level of I'll be kind, gracious, empathetic to you comes in play. But man, fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and go about my business because, like Lin is saying, my highest responsibility is my self-love, my self-care.
Absolutely.
And again, I don't know where we got this concept, this false command to love everyone unconditionally, when the model of this, which supposedly gave the command, as Jamel was saying, does not love unconditionally. So we've accepted an undue burden from a model that showed us that it has a fuck you personality.
Yep.
A very big fuck you personality.
So let me take a minute to pick on Aaron. So Aaron just showed up, right? Because I want him to talk about that whole, Jesus is not unconditional love thing. Because here's the thing, that one of the reasons why we continue to hold up certain paradigms, models, is because that, we say, okay, that represents something to us. But when you look at this and you say, okay, this is not unconditional love, now we can start questioning it. Right. And so to Kyle's point, Kyle always says thinking is good. This is something that stimulates thinking. So Aaron, I'm going to kick that to you because I want you to explain that. Explain.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for letting me be part of the conversation. Yeah. So a few years ago, a couple of years ago, I guess it was, I can't remember. I think it might've even been during the pandemic. Just this idea, obviously Yahweh was a motherfucker. So there I got my customer. No disrespect to any Jewish people out there. But the idea was, that Jesus was unconditionally loving. He was, I think Kyle said it tonight, the revelation of who God is, manifested in the flesh. We couldn't understand who God was until Jesus came and manifested in the flesh. But if you read the scriptures, just John 3:16, right? For God so loved the world that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. That's conditional. That's conditional upon what you believe. And then like Kyle said also, you don't even have to get to the end of the book in Revelation where he's coming to destroy, 3/4 of the population with blood up to the horse of the bride. But the first 3 chapters, one of the churches, he says, I'm going to throw you and your children into a sickbed. And so, how with integrity, like I really followed and was influenced at one point by the Bethel movement. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. Bill Johnson up in Redding, California. And, they were really strong on, Jesus is the healer, the devil's the oppressor, whatever. But right there in the scriptures, it says Jesus is going to, take people in his own community, his own believers, people that believed in him, and cast them into the sickbed because they're letting some woman deceive them. And it even says in there that she's deceiving them. So I don't care that you're deceived. That doesn't matter. Because you allowed this to happen, you're still going to be thrown into a sickbed. So there's nothing unconditionally loving about Jesus that's presented in the scriptures. And then, but what's really damaging, I think, and just to share a story, an experience that I had when my children were younger, I wanted to teach them Bible stories, but I also wanted to teach them, ethics was probably more important to me than teaching them Bible stories. And this is going, several years back. And I remember sitting with Josiah and reading a Bible story and thinking, well, I don't want to teach him that one. Like Noah, I don't want to teach him about that. Cain and Abel, he's got a brother just 15 months older than him. I don't want to teach him about that. So I flipped to the New Testament, and I remember I got to the faith passage, right, where if you can believe, all things are possible to him that believes. And I thought, if I read my kid that, he's going to be out, because he, like most children, he loved animals. He's going to be out trying to raise a pigeon from the dead or something, and then wonder why it didn't happen because he believed, So I didn't want him getting that crap in him either. But the worst part, I think, is, and I've heard, people in the progressive Christian movement, like who's the guy, Derrick, Brian Zahnd. I've heard him say this. I've heard Greg Boyd say this. That perfect love is Jesus dying on a cross. Well, now wait a minute. Now you're introducing this idea of sacrifice. You're introducing this idea of practically sadomasochism, because you've got the word excruciate comes out of the cross, right? So why do we have to blend excruciating pain and violence into this symbolic image of love to teach people basically that you need to be self-sacrificing? That, totally contrary to everything that you gentlemen have been saying about loving yourself, you need to sacrifice all that. And so then that kind of becomes the core of the Christian message. And then the last thing I'll say on this is the other thing I noticed was, like, people talk about the Sermon on the Mount. I think the Sermon on the Mount is horrible. I think it is psychologically damaging. I think it's damaging to the soul and to the spirit, because even in there, again, Jesus is not unconditionally loving. I mean, I don't know about you guys. Like, I didn't come up in one of these churches that was all love. Like, they weren't teaching unconditional love. And, like, I came up in a church where we heard at least once a month.
Be ye separate.
Where we heard at least once a month, not everyone that calls me Lord, Lord will enter into the kingdom of heaven, but only those that have done the will of my Father. And I'll say, depart from me, I never knew you, So you'd have this idea that you could be totally deceived thinking you're following Jesus, and then find out, shit, I wasn't doing it at all. And that creates OCD, that creates anxiety disorders, that creates all kinds of psychological issues and damages. And then the last thing I'd say on this topic for now is, what are we talking about when we talk about love? Because love is one of those really slippery words. And are we talking about a state of being? Because if we're talking about a state of being, it's impossible to be in one state all the time. Your states are going to shift. You're going to go from, feeling joyful and peaceful to feeling angry to feeling depressed. And all of that's normal. And in both the Christian community and the spiritual communities and the love and light communities, we legislate people's emotional experience and don't allow them to have full access to the range of human emotion. Because we say these are acceptable. These are the good ones. Love, peace, joy, kindness. Those are all the really good ones to have. But if you have too much sexual desire, that one's really bad. If you get angry, again, Sermon on the Mount, if you get angry at your brother without cause, you're in danger of hellfire. If you look at a woman to lust after her, that's a biological response.
Right.
You can't control that. Like, that's biologically wired into you, but we have to legislate that. And then we have to legislate anger. We have to legislate the fuck you, so to speak. And we say that one's better than the other, and it just puts us at war with ourselves. And so again, the whole thing is completely psychologically unhealthy in my view. So there. I got my cuss words in. I'm drinking.
If you're a man and you ain't thinking with a little head, sometimes something ain't wrong, something ain't right with you.
Absolutely.
I'm just gonna put it out there.
Absolutely. But it's all about embracing the human experience. That's
absolutely
what it is for me.
Bingo.
It is human to love. Okay. And we were talking earlier about the inspiration of love. Well, I believe, and we can call it source, we can call it energy, but it comes from within, and that's what we have to remember. That inspiration, it comes from within us, whatever you choose to call it. Some people don't want to use this. What is it? A German? I think it came from a German term, actually. God, right? Was it German or is it? Yeah, I think it was a German word. So some people don't want to use that term, God. But whatever you call it, it comes from within. So it's all a part of the human experience. To love, but watch this, guys. To love is a part of the human experience. To hate is a part of the human experience. To lust is a part of the human experience. To want, now, here I go. Hope this doesn't flag your video, but to want to kill someone is a part of the human experience. And maybe not every human experience, but if you're angry enough, or if someone is coming at you in the right environment, the right circumstance, someone's attacking you, you want to defend yourself, that's a part of the human experience. So it's all about embracing the human experience for me. That's what it's all about.
And Bishop, I just want to ask, like, for me, everything that we deal with in life is a choice. Is that correct?
I agree.
Right? If I choose to hate somebody and do what you just said and kill somebody, right? I've also chosen to possibly spend my life in prison the rest of my life, or whatever, right? So that's
correct.
That's the thing. Choices. And that's one of the things that I'm understanding about life now. And I made bad choices based on things that I used to believe. That's all I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
I made some bad choices that went against where I'm trying to go in life. For me, I'm trying to live a happy life, an abundant life. I want to have I'm not even concerned no more about what's going to happen, because we all probably came from traditions where it was all about. I told my children recently, I said, look, what I used to believe, we were practicing dying. I don't want y'all to practice dying. I want y'all to practice living. Live your best life right now, right? So it ain't about what's going to happen when I die. It's about right now. Make the best choices for you right now. Absolutely. That you can have your best experience. It don't matter what's going to happen when you die. It don't matter what's going to happen for you right now.
So let me throw something out here, right? Because, and this is something that Kyle and I have talked about, Aaron and I, we talked about this, is that since I ditched the whole Christian narrative, these are the things that have happened to me, right? I am making more money than I ever have.
Same here, brother.
I have more house than I ever have. I have more stuff, cars, investments, all of this. I have more than I've ever had. I have more peace than I've ever had. I have more joy than I've ever had. These are the things, since I actively ditch the Jesus narrative as a cornerstone of my life, my life has become measurably, quantifiably better. This is not conjecture, y'all. This is not just well, I think, no. This is like, I can actually, because see, here's the thing, like, and again, I'm gonna pick on Aaron and Kyle because I have more interaction with these guys. But they have actually seen the inner workings of my life. And so when I say this, I'm not just saying this as like, okay, this is Derrick talking. This is observation that Aaron can verify, that Kyle can verify. That these are things that, because here's the thing. Let me take this back 6 years, and I was diagnosed with heart failure. My ejection fraction of my heart was 22%, which that, if you understand anything about cardiology, you understand that 22% means pending imminent death, right? So Kyle was with me through that, right? And had I continued down the path of the Jesus narrative, you could actually say that possibly that might have killed me. But I was able to let that go, release that, and because that burden was lifted off me, my heart was able to recover. And so now, the last time I went back to the doctor and had my heart function observed and evaluated, my cardiac function, my ejection fraction is now close to 60%, which for those of you who are on the call, because Jamel is the youngest one of the bunch here, that my ejection fraction as a 61-year-old man is that of what Jamel may have.
I don't know about that.
It's like that since I've ditched the Jesus narrative, my health is empirically better.
Wow.
And that's the thing. Like so people will say, okay, I want to go back to something, because people will say, well, if you don't have Jesus, if you don't have God, if you don't have the Bible, then we're just brute beasts, and we're going to go out and we're going to start killing and raping and all of this other stuff. No, listen.
Right.
I am better. I am a better, not just better physically, I am a better human now that I've ditched this than I've ever been.
I want to add something in back to the hypothesis, theory, proof thing. We have proof that a God does not love us. We have proof of that, and it's all around us. And Jamel pointed on some of those things. I have a good friend of mine who, he and I came up together. We cut our teeth together in ministry. We did ministry together for years. He was my assistant pastor. Several years ago, back in had to be about 2005 or so, he went through an extremely tough season. And he was laying across his bed this night and just thinking about how hard everything was. He was losing his house. He was losing his car. He was losing everything around it. He had got, attacked with shingles. And I mean, just a whole host of, like, boom, 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 one after another. And he's laying across his bed one night, and he's a deep thinker. And he said, God, I'm a better father than you. He has 2 children. And I'm sure what led him to this thought was he was probably thinking, if I saw my son going through what I'm going through, and I had the power to stop it, I would do it.
Come on, man.
Instantly. And my son would have to ask for it. And if my son said, no, Dad, don't do it, I'd do it anyway.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Now, he didn't take that further. And when he told that to the church, I thought, whoa, brother, you're going too far. Because we were still conditioned.
Yeah.
Right.
But if we look at the condition of Christians, and I'm an observer, I just saw a video today. Creflo Dollar said he just came out of a Job experience. He had COVID, which led him to all kinds of issues. Then he had shingles, which led him to more issues. Then he had another major issue, cancer. Right after that, boom, boom, boom. And this is Creflo, who's been preaching for years, probably responsible for thousands of conversions. I mean, has been doing all this work for this God.
Yeah.
And when his health failed him, his God was ghost.
Yep.
Which is a proof that this God does not love him.
It is proof.
So we have proof. We have proof after proof after proof after proof after proof that God does not love us, that God is not here for us, that God does not help us, that God does not provide for us. The proof is in the pudding. People pray for healing, and we have proof on top of proof that they don't get healed. And then somebody says, well, this other person got healed. Well, Creflo went to the doctor.
Absolutely.
Creflo got medicine. Creflo had top-notch medical treatment. So I can point to that more than I can point to a God healing him, although he gave God all the credit.
I'm sure.
Let me throw something in here, right? Because
can I just say this real quick? The moderator.
Hang on, moderator, hang on, right? Because I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And those of you who are close to me, you know this, right? Now, this was after I had ditch the Christian narrative, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing, right? For those of you who are saying, you know what, Derrick, you ditch your Christian narrative and God is going to punish you. My PSA went from 9.8 to the time that I was diagnosed to zero point 0.6 a couple of months ago when the doctor called me and said, "Hey, Derrick, you're cancer free."
Yeah.
All right. God ain't have shit to do with that. Because if God was trying to show me something, or God was trying to make a proverb out of me, this was a good opportunity. But here I am. I'm healthier than I've ever been.
Yep.
Well, let me just say that, bro. When we talked Monday, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you were talking about when it comes to God, you said everything is a guess.
Right.
Yep.
But you were saying from the perspective of everything is a guess that there is a God, right? But I'm coming from the perspective of everything has to also be a guess that there's not a God, right?
Right.
Can't you come to the
Absolutely.
same conclusion?
Yeah, I said
Absolutely.
everybody's guessing. We're guessing that there is. We're guessing that there's not.
Oh.
Everyone's guessing.
Right.
A hypothesis, folks,
But
is an
what I'm
educated
saying
guess.
is, you said
But we have proof. We have proof that what the scriptures say about this God is not true.
It's not true.
But-
I am the Lord
but
that
I'm
God
not-
that healeth thee. We have
what
proof that stuff is not true.
But
So
I'm
if
not
the healing
going.
is connected to a God, then by just connecting the dots, for me, I can go there because
But for
here's
me-
the proof.
But for me, I don't go by the scriptures
Right.
because you
I
can't
get
go
you.
by the scriptures because we know that we were taught to take the Bible literally, right? I don't take the Bible literally, right? But for me, I've just come to a conclusion, just like I couldn't come to a guess that there's not a God, a higher power, whatever you want to call God, right? I can't guess that there's, a absence of one, or there is one. I just have taken the stance that, hey, live my life. Now, for me, I personally believe that there is something going on within me that has made me a better person.
That's
Right?
good.
That's just where I'm at in my life, right? I don't believe, this is me, I don't believe that I would be where I'm at right now if there was not some type of divine intervention to get me from where I was to where I'm at. That's just me, right?
And that's great. That is
I'm just saying
respectful.
that's just my personal take, but I love, man, I love this interaction with you all, man, and just I'm gonna just be honest. Let me just tell whoever's listening. I was very I was nervous about coming up here. I was.
I knew you was.
Yeah, I didn't think you were coming.
As your close friend, as your brother,
Yep.
I knew you was.
Yeah,
I knew too. I was very nervous.
but I'm glad you're here.
Can I piggyback off something that Lynn's saying here at the risk of derailing the conversation or taking it in a different direction? And I've shared with Derrick a lot about this, a lot. I think the biggest struggle I had coming out of Christianity, deconstructing, having been a pastor, I don't know about the rest of you, but that was my livelihood as well. And, giving all of that up, I think the biggest struggle that I had was trying to figure out the metaphysics that I could believe in. And, I've been very transparent that atheism, or really more so materialism, doesn't work for me as a model of reality. And for me, I would say, because I had so many paranormal experiences or supernatural experiences or extra materialism type experiences, whatever you want to call it, that I couldn't, to become a full-on atheist in the sense of also a materialist, which I have found in engaging with the people in the atheistic community that I've engaged with. So I'm not generalizing. I'm just saying, limited to my experience, almost all of them have been strictly materialists. And so if you bring up anything that is paranormal or supernatural or outside of a materialistic explanation, they immediately shut you down and they either think you're lying or think you're just as deceived as you were before, whatever. So for me to embrace that line of thinking, I would have to deny myself. I would have to deny the experiences that I had, because as a general rule, most of the stuff that I did under Christianity, I got to be honest with you, most of it worked most of the time. Now with healing, there was a lot of hit and miss, but I'd sure take the hit and miss and have the people healed than have everybody sick and die and not get healed. So I was willing to be uncomfortable with aspects of it where people were not healed or were in services. This person's healed of cancer. This person's, received a creative miracle. This person's cold got healed, and this person over here is still in a wheelchair. And I would hate that for the person that would go home in the wheelchair, but I'd sure take the others, and be uncomfortable with the questions. So I guess what I'm asking is, how have you all, can you relate to this at all? Is this something that you guys have experienced, and how have you sorted that?
Absolutely. I think everybody was ready to talk right there. But yeah, I'm with you on that. There's definitely is somebody who's cutting up in the comments now. I know somebody is. But
I'm laughing at Kyle Butler. He been drinking that cooler for 3 hours.
Oh no, he's got another.
I got a
refill.
No, he got another one. He got a refill.
He got a refill. But listen, Aaron,
I only bought 2 though, so I didn't. What we got on this thing about 7 o'clock, so we're 2.5 hours in.
Oh goodness gracious!
Oh wow!
I only got 2.
I
only got 2.
Well, we only been out. We only been live.
Yeah, we've been on for about an hour.
Okay.
I've
only
only
on the hour prior.
Gotcha.
I was gonna say I've only been on for an hour, and I'm already on my second.
So this is over 2.5 hours since we first logged in. So
I'm with you on that, brother. There is something, and that's the way I phrase it. I've had experiences that I cannot explain. I will call them extraordinary. If you want to call them supernatural, whatever, paranormal, whatever you want to call them, I've definitely had those experiences. The healings, I saw those. In some of our gatherings. There was at least 4 occasions that I felt like I had this special gift, and maybe I did. There was 4 separate occasions where I had 3 elderly people, 1 young person that claimed, if they were telling the truth, they were deaf in 1 ear. Okay, deaf in 1 ear. Excuse me, not deaf, but deaf in 1 ear. And I blew in their ear. Ears popped open, according to them, and they could now hear. That's all 4 of them. Okay, that happened on 4 separate occasions. But even as I go back to that, in hindsight, I recall there was, for me, now this is my experience, I did not call on God. It's just like something, and I had a relationship, quote unquote, with God, but there was something within me that just knew this is what you need to do. It was like a natural reaction, blow in their ear, it's just something, and it happened. But I have even with that and some other things, and I'll share one other thing, but some other things, I still see no reason to attribute it to a God. I know that it was something, and it's something I can't explain. Exactly. But I see absolutely no reason to say therefore God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One thing that I want to share that was kind of paranormal, maybe you would say, is I came home one day. This is when I was still married. My wife was not there. Okay, I came in the house and I knew she was not there, but I heard her voice, and I was not in a state of trance, like we do at church. I was not in the worship. I was just coming home from work, walking into the house, with no consciousness of any God experience. I didn't work this up, is what I'm saying. I walked into the house from upstairs. I heard my wife talking, who was alive, okay? All right. I heard her upstairs. I heard what she said. I walked up there to find her. She was not there. I started hollering her name. She was not there. So there's things that have happened, but I have no reason to attribute them to a God.
Can I ask this one question? This just one question, right? When you say that you can't attribute what you experience to a God.
And not that I can't, but I just see no reason to.
Well, no reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
But let me ask you this question. Is it the God that we have formulated in our minds according to religion? Or is it, because for me, I don't look at the God that I formulated according to religion, someone outside of me, right?
Right.
That God is gone.
Mhm.
But I
Right.
believe that there is a spirit, there is an energy, there is a power that is, we said, in church, we used to say God is omnipotent, omniscient, and what was it? Omnipresent.
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 Right? A spirit, right? Now, when you said that you can't, that God, right? Is it that God, or for me,
Well, I think that's a great question. Well, where I am right now, I don't see it as any God at all. I just
Okay.
don't. Not a God inside of me, not a God outside of me.
Got you. Got
You
you.
know, my thing is I don't know what it is, and I'm okay with
Right.
it. That
Right.
that's
Yeah,
kind of
I'm
what I am. I don't know, and I'm okay. But my experience, although some experiences we may say they're subjective, but my experience says that there was something
Yeah.
that happened.
Yeah.
I
No,
just
let
don't.
me let me let me
go
say
ahead,
this.
Kyle. Go
I
ahead.
don't when I say God, I don't believe in that. There's nothing that connects me to the word God. I think that word has been too muddied, too soiled, it's too personal to groups and concepts and ideas. So when I talk against God, that's why now every time I write it, it's always lowercase.
Yep.
When I refer to that, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in any religious God, or any version of a God. That's what I'm talking about. I believe there's something. There's something. I don't know what it is. That's why I'm talking about the guesses. I believe there's something. I don't know what it is. My guess is it's not any of the religious gods that we have heard. That's
Exactly.
my guess.
Yeah.
My guess is that there is something. So that's what I mean, Lynn, when I say I'm guessing. My guess is what Christianity says, what Islam says, what Hinduism says, or Taoism says, that all of those are wrong. That's my guess. And my guess is there's something. So with that being said, I'll just say this real fast and I'll be done. I heard Dr. Joe Dispenza talk about healings in his meetings and his gatherings. And when I heard that, that was all I needed to know, that it can't be associated with any of the religious versions of God, because they never talked about God in any of these sessions.
Right.
So that has to speak of something that we're just not able to fully identify. And that is what I was referring to earlier, is whatever that is, it has not made itself known to humanity in a way that we can say, oh, this is what it is with certainty.
Yes.
Good point, Kyle.
So this is something that I've dealt with, right? Because I was in Nigeria, and we're in a revival, and this woman came and she said that she had been diagnosed with AIDS, right? And we laid hands on her, and in the third night of the revival, she came back with a new doctor's report that said that she did not have AIDS, right? I've been in services where I've laid hands on people that said they had like stage 4 cancer, and they come back in the third night of the revival and they have no cancer, right? I've seen it. I've seen broken bones healed. I've seen deaf ears open. I've seen blind eyes open. I've seen deaf tongues being able to speak. I've seen it all. But I also have a son who is a type 1 diabetic. And he has actually spoken healing to himself. And the type 1 diabetes has not been rescinded.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, what is the disconnect? Where I'm preaching to people, I'm speaking to people, I'm laying hands on people, and Aaron and I have had this discussion because he and I both have had this experience where you have that guy in the back of the auditorium who is a paraplegic, who has lost the use of everything from the neck down because of a car accident or something like that, right? And you're laying hands on people and broken bones are being healed. You're laying hands on people and deaf ears are being opened, but you know that this guy is back here. But for whatever reason, that guy isn't being healed.
Man, oh man.
And so I've had a problem with that. So listen, I've had this conversation with God, right? You know, God, what the fuck, really? What the actual fuck, God? Come on, God, come on. I've had that conversation because I'm like, okay, if I can get somebody to hear that hasn't heard, I can get somebody to speak that hasn't spoken. I can get somebody that has cancer that the cancer is gone. But this guy that's in the back, he's in the motorized wheelchair, and he's got his whole entourage of people that they got his oxygen, they got his chair, they got all of this stuff, and this guy is back here waiting to be healed, and that healing doesn't happen, and so, you know, to all of you guys' points, I've seen the supernatural.
Absolutely.
I've seen people, you know, stuff that where like one time there's a guy, his name is Ian Gennari. I'm gonna pick on him. But one time Ian and his wife came and ministered at our church before they went off to Zimbabwe. And there was a guy, he was a retired New York City cop and a chaplain for the New York City Police Department. And he was limping going out. And Ian said to me, he nudged me, he said, that guy, one leg is shorter than the other. And I said, no, I think it's his hip. But we both agreed that we're gonna intercept this guy on the way out. And we sat up and we prayed for him. And y'all listen, hear me. We watched this guy's leg extend several inches while we were praying for him. And the guy got up and walked like he said, I haven't walked like this in 40 years. This was legit. I mean, he was legitimately healed. And I'm like, okay, great. But why can't my baby who has been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes get healed? Help me to understand this. And so Kyle, Aaron, this is Ducey who I'm talking about because both of you guys have had interaction with him.
Right.
Yeah. Why isn't he has prayed, he has decreed, he has spoken over his life, and the same healing that I've seen happen with others hasn't happened with him. Why?
With a God that is no respecter of persons.
Well, come on, Jamel.
Sorry, Jamel. I didn't mean to.
No, that's all.
Jump in. Go ahead.
No, that was all.
So I was probably way more on the charismatic fringe than the rest of you.
No,
that's embarrassing for me to say that, probably, and I'm just guessing.
Maybe.
But we like I want to float this question out too, because and I appreciate what Derrick is saying. Like, I had to come to grips with the fact that the stuff that was happening in our meetings was happening in spite of what we were teaching people, not because of what we were teaching people.
That's good.
And so, you know, why did the person with the hip, why did their leg grow out when Ducey, you know, did all the things that we were taught to do, right? Believe, speak, all that stuff. So it's obvious there's not a direct cause and effect between what was taught and what happened.
Come on.
But I wonder, because this still like is a drive inside of me. It's like there was something.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but it was happening consistently enough in my life and ministry that I want to find out more about that. And how can we tap into that? And how can we make that more readily available to people? And so, you know, Kyle, when you were talking about Dr. Joe Dispenza, I've, you know, seen several episodes where he talks about the healings. My wife's going to get to go. I don't get to go. I got to stay in with kids, but she's going to go to his advanced seminar in Denver. And he'll have a miracle service in his advanced seminars. And he would talk about how he would prepare the people and prepare, you know, for these miracle services. And it was exactly the principles that we would follow. We used to go into churches that like my job in the network of churches that I belonged to was to go into churches where they'd never seen anything and have a miracle service, and then you know, teach and train people the best way we could with the paradigm that we had at the time to do some of those same things. And so I love that Joe Dispenza's, you know, tapping into this, but he's tapping into it through completely devoid of any kind of fundamentalist religious doctrine. So again, that shows there's no direct connection or correlation to religion and those things. So there's just something inside me that's like, man, I want to find more about this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Bro,
I'm of that persuasion too. Yeah. My issue I have with Christianity, because I know Christianity, I don't know the other religions that well, but my issue with Christianity is, if you're really here to help people, like you claim, then why don't we ditch these bullshit narratives that you know don't work, and let's find out what does work.
Yeah.
If we're if this is really to help people, this is really what it's about. Then let's ditch the bullshit narratives and let's find out what really does help people, so we can help people.
Yes.
That's my problem with Christianity specifically. It won't be honest.
Right.
It won't say, by your stripes you're not healed. By his stripes you're not healed. It won't say that. It won't say, if you call upon the elders of the sick, you shall recover. It won't say that. It won't say, if you call upon the name of the Lord, you shall be saved. It doesn't work. It won't say that. It'll keep driving these same old narratives that don't help people.
Right.
And that's my number one major issue with Christianity. Yeah. Why don't you want to really help people? You want to hold on to these narratives that have proven themselves time and time again not to work. And you won't venture out and find out what does work and bring that back in to help the hurting people that are flocking to your services.
Yes.
That's my issue.
I really think I'm on the verge of finding it out, to be honest with you. I think I'm on the verge of figuring it out. I dare to say it.
I want to hear this.
I dare to say it. I'm really beginning to believe, and I think this had a lot to do with, you know, going to school a few years ago when I decided to study hypnotherapy and NLP and all of those things. I really think that it very well may simply be the body-brain connection. I'm really headed in that direction. I think it's simply the body-brain connection, which is why it works.
Oh, man.
Why it can work in religion.
Preach, Bishop.
Why it can work in with yoga, Buddhism, whatever. You know, why it can work in the thought community, the New Age community, whatever. Witchcraft, okay? Why it can work in any place. Because I'm starting to believe it's simply the brain-body connection. So watch this. So at the end of the day, it may be simply us. Do you hear me? We may be the power. We may be the power, as Aaron said, that we must learn how to tap into.
That I can work with.
I'll just say this. Can the moderator speak? please.
Come on, then.
I'm going to get a drink.
I don't know. You're wearing an Eagle. You're wearing an Eagle shirt.
The moderator just want to say this, but Aaron, man, I'm feeling you. I listened to all the videos, Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, all of it, right? And I believe they have tapped into something. And they're sharing something that most people, we have been conditioned to reject, right? But I believe wholeheartedly everything starts within us, right? But we haven't been told the power that we have. We haven't been told the understanding that we need to understand about the now it doesn't even, for me, it doesn't even matter if you want a title. There's a God out there, and it's me. I believe that there is. Let's put it like this: there is a non-physical and there is a physical, right? And if you understand that, if you understand the importance of your emotions and what it's doing to your physical body, right? If you understand how your thoughts are affecting your physical body, and that's one of the things I'm trying to make very clear nowadays, right? It's all about your thinking and your emotions. If we can, because think about it, doesn't it make sense that if we are very negative in our thoughts, it will affect our bodies? Doesn't that make sense?
Yes.
Right? If we are very negative, regardless of what you think of, I ain't talking about what you believe in God and all of this, right? Now I could throw in real quick. Please forgive me, y'all. I know y'all, but there was a scripture that says, "According to your faith, let it be done unto you." Right? What you believe about life, what you believe about health, what you believe about everything that's going on around you, it will be done unto you, right? I absolutely believe that. So that's one of the things that I had to change, because I was corrupted about some of the things that I believed about life, my health, and all of that. I believed I was unworthy. I believed that I was a sinner. All of that was garbage, right? But when I disconnected from that, right, everything started to change from the inside out. And so for me, you were talking about, man, I'm telling you, if we could get people to disconnect from some of the things they have believed and they were thinking about themselves, right? Healing starts to flow. But if you connect it to, you're unworthy, you're a sinner, you need all of this stuff, the body naturally responds to what you believe about yourself.
Let me take this back to the beginning of the conversation, Lynn. You had talked about from when you're talking about from what's within versus what's external, right? And that's the thing that everybody needs to understand is that this, if you're looking for solutions externally, I don't care whether it's God, whether it's your neighbor, whether it's somebody coaching you, somebody advising you, it doesn't matter. If you're looking for the solutions externally, the solutions are never going to happen. Here's the thing, like I learned some things. I bought a Tesla a year ago, right? And there are so many things about this car that is just absolutely fucking amazing. They call them Easter eggs, right? And so the more you learn about these Easter eggs, the more you learn about what the car can actually do, right? But all of these Easter eggs are programmed in the car from its inception. From its basic engineering to its manifestation on the assembly line, these things are programmed into the car. So watch this. And Aaron, and you and I, we've talked about this. You are equipped from the factory with every possible option.
Yes.
Everything that you need is already in you. All you have to do is you have to find that which is in you and extract that or manifest that so that you can express that in your life, right? So here's the thing. We talked about Joe Dispenza, and we've talked about other people like that. And this is the thing that I love about Dr. Joe is that Dr. Joe is always talking about how to express and manifest what is in you.
Yes.
You already have it.
Yes.
It isn't like you have to go on some long trek, some sojourn, or some, you don't have to go through all of that. All you have to do is look within and say, okay, and come to the realization that everything that I need is already in me. Right. So now if I know this, right, like for example, I found something in my Tesla automobile, right? That there is a thing that you can go in and you can unlock this, and it will basically overload the motor in the car and allow you to go 0 to 60 faster than you did than the car is designed to do.
Wow.
Or that that it projects publicly to do. So you can go in and there is a hidden strength inside the car, right? You have all kinds of hidden strengths inside you. All you have to do is, but again, if you're trying to figure it out externally, oh, God, tell me this, or oh, great guru, tell me this. If you do this, you will never find it because no one can tell you more about you than you.
On you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll say this as well to that extent. I'm not going to say I did this more than anyone on this panel tonight, but I know for myself how much confidence and for how long I placed in God and in Jesus. I know how I totally took every dream, every goal, every desire, every want, everything I had, because I grew up in a let Jesus do it, let God fix it, let. I grew up in that environment very heavily, and I took it all to heart. And I completely removed myself from everything in my life and turned it over to them exclusively. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you, when I took all of that back, I can compare the two. When I gave it all to them, my life was a living hell. When I took it back totally to myself, my life now is becoming like heaven. Now, that's my personal experience. And I can't be convinced otherwise that it's all about me.
Yes.
Because whenever those few moments in what I'm doing now, whenever I've turned to me, my life got drastically better.
Boom.
Whenever I let the guilt and the shame and combination of I'm supposed to be trusting them and depending upon them and waiting on them, my life got worse every single time. And that's my personal experience. So I don't have anything for that anymore. And I will never give any of that anything ever again. Because for me, the proof is in the pudding. No one has done this for me better than when I did it for myself.
Absolutely.
That's my story.
That's good.
Well, can I say this? The moderator about to go. I got to go downstairs, man. But I want to say this, man. I love y'all. I really do.
Love you too, brother.
Thanks, Lin.
I will say this. We talked earlier, I said it. I was a little intimidated about coming up here, but I shouldn't have, because I know y'all would have accepted me like I am. We might not have the same views, and
none of us do.
I love.
Yeah, I don't think any of us do on this.
I love. Hey, bro, Aaron, you know what, I said that recently, right? One of the things that we get caught up in is beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And I said somebody can go to the same church, have the same preacher, but ultimately, if we really understood everybody's views everybody would be different, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Right? That is really okay. But I would just say, man, I do. I love all of y'all. And I really do, man. Y'all really, I feel invigorated, right? Because I'm grateful that where I'm at right now, right? It doesn't matter if people around me may believe differently. It doesn't matter. My life is working for me. And shouldn't that be what everybody strives to be at, right? Right?
Hey, Lin, before you leave, and I know you said that you thought, you believe we all accepted you, but I just want you to know, I told you this last week. You're number 6 in my favorite list right here. 6. and Derrick is number 7, and that's only because I had your number before Derrick. Well, that's only because I had Derrick's number. I had Lin's number before I had Derrick's number. Lin, you're number 6, and you're coming out tonight. You're coming out. So Derrick is going to move into
to say a more harmful word. I'm gonna say forget you. You know what I'm saying? Derrick, the ghetto in me about to come out, right? Because Derrick had already told me that I ain't. Everybody else 85 and I'm 80, right? Like I gotta go to Credit Karma to be, you know what I'm saying? Fuck y'all. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm gonna say to y'all.
Hey, but hold on, man.
Did you say fuck y'all?
You over 800.
I know you didn't say fuck y'all.
You over 800. It's like it ain't many people in my life that are over 800.
Well, I'm gonna be cool, right? I feel that way, right? He said I'm number 6. Right? Derrick say I'm 825. Right?
No wonder you didn't want it. No wonder you didn't want to come on with
you over 825 in my life. Hey, Jamel, you over 825 in my life.
I'll take it.
Like I said,
I'll
be honest, man, Kyle and Aaron, I have more interaction with these guys. Right? These guys are 850. Whatever perfect credit is.
What I gotta do? Credit Karma? What I gotta do? What? Huh?
Lin,
Hey, Lin, you gotta cuss more.
I gotta.
You gotta cuss more. I just need to hear you say "fuck" one time.
My wife is up here, right?
No, you better not say that.
Or hear you say "motherfucker" one time.
Come here.
Wait till she go downstairs.
My wife mad at. Oh, see y'all that got me in trouble, man.
Lin, I can understand why you were afraid to come on now. I get it. I totally get it.
Man, you gotta help me, man. These boys took me to another level.
Well, now we got you in trouble. You can really say "fuck y'all." Come on, say it.
Now I'm in trouble.
Well, yeah. I mean,
now you can really tell us. Come on, say "fuck y'all." Fuck y'all.
Fuck it. Hey, Lin. Just say "fuck it."
I ain't saying nothing else.
No, just say "fuck it" one time. Wait, hold on. Watch this. Hold on. Watch this. Here's a thought experiment coming on. Jamel.
Y'all know.
Hold on, Jamel.
Like, look over my wife. My wife, they came up the steps. She was sitting right there, and I said what I said to y'all, and she was looking at me. I said, "Oh Lord." I ain't gonna say that no more.
Hold on, Jamel.
Oh, baby Jesus, help me.
Now this is for Jamel. Jamel.
Yes, sir.
Say "fuck it."
Fuck it.
No.
All right. Aaron, say "fuck it."
No, Aaron.
What?
Aaron.
Aaron. Hey, I'm on your side, Lin.
you the most saved out of all of them.
Yes, sir, brother. Yes, sir. The very discerning gentleman that you are.
Hey, Aaron, hold on. I ain't gonna let Aaron get brand new on y'all, right? Because Aaron will say "fuck you" every Friday or "fucking" every Friday.
Hey y'all, Ben. Look, guys. Ben said y'all better stop. Jesus is weeping.
Come back to the light. Aaron, go to the light. Go to the light, Aaron. Go to the light.
This. Hold on. I'm gonna settle this once and for all, right? Kyle.
No, don't do that.
No, Kyle. Say, Kyle. Hold on, no, Lin. Stop. Just stop, Lin. Kyle, say fuck it.
Fuck it.
There you go. All right. I'm done. My work here is done.
Not only did my wife come up here, she brought my kids up here, and they looking at me. See, that's what I'm talking about, man. Y'all are
Corrupt. Clouds without water.
Right? Corruptive.
Clouds without water. Thank you,
Reprobates.
Backslid.
Pigs that got clean and went back to the swine.
Apostasy.
So y'all see the look I just got? I better get comfortable up here in my man cave tonight. I'm going downstairs. Messing with y'all, right? and we supposed to be.
Tell Tanya I love her. We love her. We're sorry. Tell her we're sorry.
Yeah,
and,
we love. Listen,
we love Tanya. Tanya's solid gold. She's the rock. She's the real deal. So if our evil spirit,
let me get on this
home and tell her count that on me when I come visit.
Look, y'all can say whatever y'all got to say the rest of the evening. I'm gone. The moderator's gone.
Moderator's gone.
So whatever happens now, that's on y'all. The moderator ain't got nothing to do with that, right? So how do you delete? How you get out of this thing right here?
There ain't no getting out, man. You in. You.
It's like hell.
Yeah, it's like hell. Yeah,
it's like hell.
Eternal? It's eternal.
Hotel California, man.
Eternal punishment.
Wait, Aaron, did you say Hotel California?
Yeah.
Yeah, check out anytime you want, but you can never leave.
I'm gonna find my way out of this broadcast. But no, seriously, thank y'all.
You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
Yeah, look, y'all always my family for real, and I do. I love these conversations. I love y'all.
Love you, man.
Please know, Aaron. I hope we can interact a little more, man. I've had.
Me too.
I've seen little videos that you've done, man. But I love people that make me, as Kyle says, his whole thing is thinking. I love people to make me think. And I know that's what you do. So I'm out of here. Oh, I see it right there. Leave.
so let me say this: that all of y'all got my telephone number. All of y'all know how to reach me, right? So
I think I got almost everybody's. Unless Aaron has changed his number, I've got your number. Yeah, I've got your number.
I haven't changed it.
I think I've got your number, Cal. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, you do.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yep.
Right, love you.
Thanks
guys.
for letting me come aboard, gentlemen.
Thanks for being here. So,
thanks for being here, bro.
Are we doing this again? Or what's going on here?
Now I think that this needs to be a semi-regular thing.
I agree.
I'd be game.
I can only be honest for me and true to myself. I can't really commit to anything solidly, but I'll jump on occasionally.
I ain't gonna let you off the hook like that. Because you always talk about I can only be on occasionally. No, I'm gonna pin you down to something that you can do regularly. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
We need him. Pin him
Just
down.
keep in mind, Kyle. We're talking semi-regularly because I'm like you. I've got I'm stretched pretty thin. I know we all are, but it'd be fun to do something on a consistent basis.
Yeah,
But here's the thing: if we somebody pick a subject, right, and say, hey, let's get together and talk about this. Let's get together and do something on this, and then we could be because today we're kind of we're kind of all over the place, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if we could pick up a subject and say, okay, this is something we're going to focus on, and maybe once a month, twice a month.
Yeah.
I can do
something like that. Yeah, I can do something like that.
See, I knew I could get you, Kyle.
There you go.
I knew I could get you.
Listen, I love the interaction. It's just that I'm still traumatized by anything that comes across as being ritualistic. that you get kind of got to do this.
I understand that, Kyle.
So
I get that.
my what do you call it? My barrier is up for anything that looks like. I don't even meditate like that. I don't do anything that comes across ritualistic, or this is what you got to do, or any type of consistency in order to be something. Because I can't even tell you. I got horror stories, of coming home every day, going straight to my room for an hour, falling on my knees. So I
can appreciate that.
Still not healed over that stuff yet. So
yeah. I get that.
Ben said, y'all got to stop Jesus weeping. But here's the thing, like our man who was coming at us early, right? God is watching, or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
I put the link in. He could have joined in, and he didn't. I guess he said he had enough. But here,
yeah, I think people like that. You saw his profile picture. It's a picture of what he believed Jesus probably looks like, and you get a sense right away. People like that, their emotions are still very highly attached to Jesus, and so they can't hear anything outside of what their emotions are telling them. And all of us were probably there too at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But what I discovered is once I lost the emotional attachment,
Mm-hmm.
then now I can only work in a realm of logic and reason.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Well, our moderator is gone, so I'm going to take over as the moderator and say, listen, boom, we're done.
Peace out.
Very good.
Thank you all
Love
for
you guys.
attending our TED Talk. Because that's Aaron's tagline in phreology.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
But thank you for attending our TED Talk. And I can say for all of this on the panel, we love you. And thank you for showing up. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right.
Love you
Peace,
guys.
brothers.
All right. We're done.